Welcome to the Wrestle Fam Talk Show. This is Ron.
Ashley.
All right. So we're going to be covering, obviously, the big news is the Cody Rhodes leaving AEW.
Shocking. Not.
Yeah, I'm not really shocked by that. If you would tell me which one of anyone I thought would leave, it would be Cody.
Yeah.
Basically,
Predictable.
I mean, for years I've watched him on Being the Elite with all the guys, and he just stood out as someone that never belonged. And I've been saying this for years to you off the air, obviously. Uh, and I hadn't really, I didn't want to bash anyone or talk bad about anyone on the show, but I always had this thought about Cody, and I never found a proper time to say it. But I guess this would be the time to say it is what has he done?
I have no clue.
That's my question. And I always noticed it since day one on AEW. And this isn't a guy talking about me that, I'm just all enamored with AEW and it's time to bash a wrestler that left. I've thought about this even why he was in there 2 years ago, whatever, top of the line guy. He just has this aura of him that he has accomplished so much
Yeah.
in the wrestling. And if you look, he didn't. I mean, he was mid card at best in WWE, and then he left, went on the independent scenes, and everything he did. A lot of those guys that are in AEW have accomplished equally, just about, or even more than he
Mm-hmm.
has. But he always kind of carried himself like he's been there, done that. He's a step above. He's having a show. He's doing this and that. And my thought was when he got to AEW was this is your time to prove yourself because you know who the most known Rhodes brother is from all the fans in the world? It would be Dustin.
Yeah.
People know Goldust and Dustin Rhodes more than they know Cody Rhodes. How do I know? I asked my family, I asked friends. I would talk about AEW, and they'd be like, "Oh yeah, Goldust is on there." And then I was like, "Yeah," and Cody Rhodes, who's that? I was like, "Oh, that's like his younger brother,
Yeah.
Dusty Rhodes' son." I mean, somebody needs to tell this dude that this was your time to make yourself.
Yeah.
You have,
Create and innovate and
yeah,
get your name even more out there.
this was you making it. This is like Kenny Omega. Not many people knew him outside of the wrestling fans.
Mm-hmm.
He's making himself. He didn't come to AEW as if he had been there, done that.
Yeah.
The Young Bucks, pretty much everybody, except for Jericho,
Yeah.
came there, which was warranted for Jericho because a lot of people knew Jericho. Came there to prove themselves on a stage in America. The last time we saw Cody Rhodes, he was dressed up in a gimmick like Goldust, but he was Stardust. And he made fun of it all this time. And he made fun of WWE this whole time. So he may be signing with them. My thought is, and we all know why, from the outside, we don't know. We're not insiders, but the perception, if you will, is he has an ego,
Mm-hmm.
obviously, and I'm sure a lot of those guys do. Wrestling, a lot of wrestlers have egos. But his thing is when he got to AEW, it was Jericho and him, and then a bunch of guys from Japan, from the independents. He was one of the leaders.
Yeah.
He was in WWE. He's been there, done that. What has happened this past year?
A ton of people have come in.
A lot more bigger stars than
Yep.
him, a lot more experience.
Yes.
It kind of reminds me, just popped in my head. I arrived at tech school in January, New Year's Eve, heading into 2002. I got there, everybody was gone for Christmas, their Christmas break. I had just got out of basic training. I get there, I meet these guys, and they pretended that they were cool. They were there. They were in the classes in front of us. Obviously, we got there, so they acted like they were the coolest guys. So we're like taking their advice and this and that. When everybody else showed back up, one of the guys' nickname, according to people when they called him, was Cat, and I'm gonna go Poop, but it wasn't Poop. It was the curse bird. That's what they called him. It turned to come to find out that these guys were, and it's not like I'm like, oh, yeah, they're not cool. No, they were kind of terrible dudes.
Yeah.
That's why he was called that. But that's what it kind of seemed like. Like Cody Rhodes is there, bunch of new guys. Hey, this is how it's done. This. And then all these other guys that are, let's just say, let's label them cooler, show up. And then it's like he's pushed to the back.
Yeah.
He's felt so if he thinks he's going to find that in the WWE, I think he's
No.
mistaken. Why did you leave in the first place?
Exactly.
It would be like complaining about a job, quitting that job.
Mm-hmm.
A few years later, going back to that job,
Mm-hmm.
working for the same boss
Yep.
that you talked crap about the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when it comes to Brandy Rose, she gets enough flack. She gets enough crap. All I'm going to say is when it comes to her, I'm going to equate it to me and you. You are a hairstylist.
Yes.
You're a professional hairstylist. You know a lot about doing hair. I marry you. Is anyone going to let me cut their hair?
No.
Because I married you.
Nope.
No, they're not. Again, the question that I asked of Cody is, what have you done? And the reason I asked that is I wouldn't be asking that if he seemed kind of humble and, presented himself as a guy working hard to make it and not a guy that's I've already been there, I'm above. It's almost like he's above this.
Yeah.
Same thing with her. You got to earn your stripes in
Yeah.
anything, any type of job. It always seems like when we do this, the cats decide to go crazy and knock things over.
Yeah.
But in any job, you can't just arrive on the scene, think you're better than someone when you're not. You haven't even earned that type of respect, at least in my eyes as a fan looking out there. I've always wondered why he had the special entrance. It was almost, and at first I thought it was like a shot at Triple H and Stephanie McMahon.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, okay, I thought it was character based.
Yeah.
But then the more and more that you see it, and then you hear the stories, and then you because in AEW they kind of like reveal their true selves, it seems more.
Yeah.
And then you realize, wait, this is him.
Well, it just felt like, for me watching it, it felt like he was just like trying to make it seem like he was just the top of the chain type of wrestler, and I'm like, just not really anything special to me about him. I wasn't, into it. I just felt like it was too much for him coming from which I have seen him in WWE, and I was like, what is the big deal? Like, why is he coming into this one acting like he is at the top when he's just as good as some of these independent, actually, and some of them I thought were better.
Yeah, and like I said, it's not that I'm saying Cody Rhodes is a horrible wrestler.
No.
It's not that I'm saying he couldn't reach that peak of where he thought he was.
Yeah.
It was just that he never did. It's almost like he skipped the portion of making yourself because he had a show going on. He was on that other big show that I didn't watch because, and then like his little show he had with his wife, it was like,
Well, I think he was kind of just riding the Rhodes name
yeah, I mean, in
without
know.
kind of putting in the work like his
Exactly.
brother did.
Yeah.
We all know Goldust because he was in character. He put on good shows, and you actually knew what he was doing. But I feel like he coming into AEW, he's kind of just using his name, his father's name, and his brother's legacy as well, and kind of saying, "Hey, here I am. I've got experience."
Yeah, I mean, I watched him in the beginning. I think he showed up on the scene in WWE in 2007, and I called it too. Remember, I think him and Dustin inducted Dusty Rhodes into the Hall of Fame. He put this speech on.
Yeah.
Remember that? I think we were just starting to date.
Mm-hmm.
And I go, this guy's trying to get a job. I think I said, and that was years ago. And then he started wrestling, and then and his knee pads would always slide down, and then finally got rid of it.
That drove
Yeah. But I mean, and great, he earned his stripes in the WWE and that portion, but he didn't make it. He wasn't a main eventer there, so he left. We know who your dad is, but you got to make it yourself. You're
Yeah.
not Dusty Rhodes standing in the ring.
Yeah.
And the way he talked was like he had just been this legend
Mhm.
for years and years. And I'm like, no, dude, you were a mid Carter in face paint in a gimmick that you didn't even like. Then you went on an independent scene and you picked up a lot of titles. But guess what? All those other guys did too.
Yeah.
Guess what you didn't do? You weren't on major TV and you never made it on that. This was your opportunity, but you presented yourself as if you had already done all this stuff. Now you're leaving WWE. I'm leaving for the WWE. And I don't care.
No. It's actually I'm like, okay, because I actually prefer a lot of the other wrestlers,
He didn't
you know.
wrestle enough to for
No.
me to care. Like he would come in, and another thing he would do is he put himself in the Sting position. And what I mean
Yes.
by the Sting position is if you notice, like in 1990 through 1993, 94, before Hulk Hogan got there, let's just say, anytime a major wrestler debuted, whether Nikita Koloff came back, Jake the Snake Roberts came back, whatever it was, the person they went for was Sting.
Yeah.
How many people debuted in AEW and the first person they went for
Cody
was Cody
Rhodes.
Rhodes? He put himself in that Sting position. And that's when he had a lot more pull, it seems. Until lately, they still kind of did that, but I don't know. I don't want to bash the guy, but I'm only doing this because of the perception I received from what he was giving me was I've made it already.
Yeah.
And you didn't. It kind of reminds me of the time when I went to training and the guy that was giving a speech didn't realize that all of us did the same thing he did.
Yeah.
So he got up there and he talked about getting into those suits, going in, checking for radiation, things like that, a job I used to do. And he just built up this story as if he was talking to Joe Schmo. And we're all like catching him on like lies. We're catching him on exaggeration of what actually happens.
Yeah.
And he's just building it up. And then finally, I didn't say anything. I was a lower level sergeant at the time. And they, all the top ones started kind of asking questions. And he soon realized that he was in
A
a
group.
group of that did the same thing you did, buddy. You know,
Yeah.
it'd be like you getting up and giving this speech of hair cutting or pick a job, and you're just going through on how hard and tough and what you went through and this and that, and you're talking to people that have been, that went through the same thing, and we're like, yeah. I mean, it sounds like a great story, like a great. You're talking to someone that doesn't know, and you can build it up. It kind of reminds me of the fake Navy SEAL guys.
Yeah.
I watch that guy on YouTube a lot. He catches all the fake honor thing. Like you just build that story up. You've been there, you've done that.
Mhm.
But yeah, so that's what it was like with Cody. It seemed like just building up, and then all these other guys showed up, and they were like, "Wait, okay,
Yeah.
these guys are actually, they've done it a lot longer, and
Yeah.
they've been on top at the biggest
Yeah.
stage."
Exactly.
But yeah, so that's my thoughts on Cody leaving. Is I mean, good luck to him. We'll see how it goes, but I don't think it's gonna.
I don't think it's gonna last long.
I mean, they'll sign him, and the main thing they sign him for is just to say that, hey, look at us, we're
Yeah.
getting someone from AEW. And my thing is, you work that hard, you built this brand up,
Yeah.
and then you're gonna go. And I'm not surprised if you ask me one person that I would think would go back. It's him. I know Jericho's kind of teasing it. I don't know if Jericho's kind of doing it because he knew Cody was leaving. But even if Jericho goes back, I mean, AEW's set.
Yeah.
The guys like Jericho and Cody were cool at first to bring eyes.
Mhm.
Mainly Jericho. Again, not many people knew Cody. He thought they knew him, but no,
Yeah.
they didn't because they probably didn't watch him in Ring of Honor. It's hard to watch New Japan.
Mhm.
It was hard to watch Ring of Honor. I was a big fan of it. I couldn't even find it, at that time. when he was doing all that. I just paid attention through the Bucks on their
Yeah.
YouTube thing, them eating that Cracker Barrel
Yeah.
and doing
The
all the funny skits. And
entertainment.
he was great on it, but he just kind of stood out. Like he didn't really fit with the group. It almost kind of reminded me of like Hulk Hogan joining NWO, and all of a sudden he tried to start talking cool,
Yeah.
90s cool, by the way, in bruh,
Yeah.
he just never fit in the NWO. And same thing with that. Like it was cool seeing him, and it was like, oh, cool, he's hanging out with him. But again, it was almost like I'm the star,
Mhm.
I'm Buddy Buddy, like the cool quarterback that shows up at the nerds group or something like that. Like, oh,
Mhm.
hey, you're actually hanging out with us, but you're not the quarterback. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? But anyways, let's see what happens. I'm not gonna watch him on that thing. I don't watch WWE, but
Yeah.
yeah, I just think it's funny. Same thing with Mickey James. She talked all that crap about WWE, and then they offered her the Royal Rumble spot. She jumps on it, and then
Mhm.
everybody tries to validate it as, oh, this will be great. I'm going to have my title with me when I go to the Royal Rumble. It's like, people, it's for the freaking money.
Of
Just come out
course.
and say it's for the money. It's not, you're going to bash them. Oh, I hate this place. And look what they did to me. And this and that. Hey, you want this amount of money? Come over. Same thing with Lita.
Yeah.
She bashed them years ago for the blood money in Saudi Arabia. Guess who's going to be wrestling in Saudi Arabia? Lita. I know.
Mhm.
Oh, the blood money. They're doing it for this and that and all the wrong reasons. And then she tries to validate it. Well, no, they're letting the women wrestle. Like, stick to your principles,
Mhm.
people. I mean, come on.
Yeah. It's just horrible.
Come up with your own ideas and don't let money change your mind.
Yeah.
I know it's easy to say from a person that's not getting offered these millions of dollars, but you know me. You know me. I
Oh, I know.
stick to what I believe, even if the easy, more financial set way is to go against my beliefs. Guess what I've done? Turn them down.
Mhm.
All I said is, as long as we're paying the bills and the family's taken care of, we're good to go.
Yep.
And you know how I learned that? When Hulk Hogan didn't take Ted DiBiase's money when he tried to buy the world title in 1988. That's what's missing in wrestling. Teaching kids. I'll be honest, teaching kids. I talked to Hacksaw Jim Duggan about this. Where are the storylines that actually teach you something?
Mhm.
All I did was watch wrestling. My mom was a cleaning lady. She would go to each room at a hotel, and it was like a gas station and a hotel thing.
Yeah.
There's a few rooms there. And I go with her and I drink my root beer. And I was helping my mom by sitting on the bed and
Watching
watching
wrestling.
wrestling. I mean, I watched wrestling constantly. I read the magazines. And these storylines was good versus evil. I don't see that anymore. I
Yeah.
don't. I promise you, I learned values from wrestling. You ask any of my friends, high school in my life was a wrestling promotion. I saw the world as a wrestling promotion. My relationships with people were as if we were wrestlers
Yeah.
because that's all I knew. I didn't go around a lot of friends. I didn't start hanging out with friends until in high school. So I was there at the house, home alone, play with my toys, all my toys, Spider Man, X Men. I created names for them, and I put on wrestling promotions by myself, just wrestling in the ring. And I was using storylines, real life storylines that I was thinking of. Constantly do. Everybody I meet is a wrestler to me, and I come up with a name for them
Yes, you
in
do.
a storyline.
As soon as someone's even born, there's already a name.
Yeah. Remember, I created the kids on the video game
I know.
prior to them being born. They look like those
Yes, they
characters.
actually really do.
It's like I had a vision and an image.
Well, and you know what? It came true.
I was like, our younger one's going to be the powerhouse, and the older one's going to be the high flyer, and one's going to have longer hair, and the other one's going to kind of want to keep his head cut short. And that's exactly how they are.
Yep.
But long story short, is that the storyline. I just want wrestling to be good again. AEW is far from perfect.
Yeah.
I'm not on here tooting the horns of AEW. You hear me all the time. Same thing with anything. I don't really ever pick a side. If WWE was doing great and they started becoming good again, great.
Yeah.
Whatever. I don't care. I don't have allegiance. I want a good show.
Mhm.
I want my kids who have kind of started slowly stopping. This is the whole reason we started this thing was we were all watching it, and now they're slowly starting to get out of it. So why do I keep doing this with my wife? Is you know, if I could go back and hear my dad's voice, it would be great. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So when it's all said and done, they can go back and they can listen to us talk about wrestling, and they can hear themselves as kids.
Yeah.
So we still try to get him on here, and I try to get Ryder to talk about something different. So he doesn't really want to talk about wrestling, and I try to get Bryce because Bryce can go off on wrestling. He can go
Oh, I
and,
know he
and talk
can.
and get some great knowledge from him. He was the one that was keeping me up with what was going on with WWE until the video games
Yeah.
took over his life. But yeah, that's what's missing with wrestling. This was just the hard hitting, real life scenarios, good and bad, with the main focus of teaching right from wrong.
Mhm. Yeah.
And I wish they would just go back to that.
That would be great.
Because when I watch these shows, there's no substance.
Yeah.
No substance. AEW has a little bit of that. It's more modern. And I get onto them about the matches. Like, everybody is not Superman.
Yeah, I think that's my only thing is
That's the
they
only.
need to they need to just lay down and stay down.
Yeah, someone needs to just be hurt, quotation hurt. Like, if you get hit with a triple flipping pile driver, you should just be out.
Do not get up.
Yeah, don't get up. Another thing, we're about to go on a rant. This must be like a very negative one. I hate the 10 count on the outside, and they wait till 9, and then they spring in. It was cool seeing one person do it. It's not cool seeing it
Over
all
and
the
over and over
time.
again.
Where's the shock value to it? Crawl, mix it up.
Yeah.
You can't be knocked. Have you ever passed out? You saw me passed out a couple months
Yeah.
ago. You thought I was going to die at the doctor's office.
Yes.
Trust me, when I came to, I wasn't wanting to spring up.
I don't know. I don't
Well,
know
maybe.
because in between the passing out, you were joking, and I was like, "Is he going out again?" And then he was, I
Well,
don't know.
maybe just me, but I wasn't out for just 9 seconds.
No.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't know. Maybe I just sound like an old dude just talking about the new kids, but I mean, I just don't enjoy
No,
what
I
I
mean, I
see.
agree with you. I mean, when you've actually seen some of the old stuff of them actually crawling little bit by little bit to the ring and then trying to reach up and like, okay, oh, you actually kind of miss some of that because it's not really a shock value when you just say, oh, they're up and they're in the ring. They throw them. It's almost like they launch themselves,
Yeah.
and it's like over and over again, someone launching themselves into the ring under the rope to get in there at that last second. Is like no drama to it. What you need, that drama, that kind of like, oh my god, is he gonna make it? Type of thing.
I want to see a few not make it.
Yeah, that
What
would actually be kind of great
whenever that happens,
because
I
then that's
have
that shock value of like, oh my god, they cost themselves
yeah, I
the
mean,
they couldn't get back in the
it
ring.
I'll equate it to the Royal Rumble, when number 1 and number 4 and number 5 or whatever it was, number 2, they had more wins than the 30th
Yeah.
member of the Royal Rumble. They used to say it's about the luck of the lottery. Not according to the history.
Yeah.
It wasn't only until like 2007 or 8 they started having the 30th man win a few times. Like the Big Show. He's a favorite in the Rumble. Or, and he never won like a battle royal until
Yeah.
years later. Like, you got to set the precedence. Have a few guys not make it. That way, when someone does that, it's like, oh, wow, they did it. Because every time I see someone laying unconscious and they do the slow count, I'm like, yeah, they're about to hop up and get in there. Oh, good, they did. Which that shouldn't be the case.
Yeah.
So hopefully, I don't know. I doubt it's going to get any better. I just pick the pieces I enjoy. I try to rationalize in my head. And the main thing is, if you look at what I grew up on, when those
Mhm.
wrestlers made it to the WWF at that time, there were a few that were the exception. A lot of them were just seasoned vets. I mean, guys were making it big in their late 30s and in their 40s.
Yeah.
They had been all over the world. And when they made it to the main scene, they were that seasoned vet. They knew their character. They developed their character. Nowadays, you get a 19-year-old, a 20-year-old in there, and they're learning in front of your eyes, and they don't have as much that seasoning.
Mhm.
They don't really know who they are. They're given a character. They're
Yeah.
given what to say, and the best thing to be, I believe Stone Cold said it, is yourself turned up a little bit.
Yeah, I believe it.
Because people could tell if it's the true you, and it could be you, a superhero you, if you will, just you on, I'm going to say on steroids, not literally, but you know,
Yeah.
juiced up to the max. Take your personality and turn the knob up to 100, and you become a character. And that's what I don't see. I don't see them believe in their characters. AEW gives people that freedom.
Yeah.
They travel around in the independents, and when they show up, they're that character. You see Keith Lee, he arrived back in from WWE to AEW. He got out of there. He becomes that character that he wants to be,
Yeah.
and it's more genuine. It may even kind of be the same character they were trying to do in WWE, but
But
he's,
then it didn't have that as much creative output.
yeah. So you see the difference, and that's why I'm shocked that if Cody was like, "Oh, I want more power. I want my voice to be
Like,
heard."
oh,
You're about to go back to there.
yeah. I just don't see it being a big wow because I'm like, I mean, he's just gonna be that mid card person again.
Yeah, I mean they took my favorite wrestler throughout the 2000s, and I don't even watch his matches. AJ Styles.
Yeah.
I don't even care. I don't even get excited.
Yeah. He could have been so much better.
Yeah, I mean, they just take these guys,
I
and
mean, he was actually better with was it TNA?
yeah, that's where he made his
Like he was actually
niche.
better within TNA.
Yeah, I just don't.
I
I
don't like
don't
what
get it.
WWE did with him.
And my thing is at first maybe it will be good, but then it's going to fizzle out. Kind of like when
Yeah.
Drew McIntyre came back,
Mhm.
reinvented himself. He was hot for a second, and now he's just another one of the guys. And that's what's going to happen to Cody. I'm shocked by it because he had just had a kid, and
Yeah.
he was working. I mean, the work schedule. Like if you tell me, hey, you work a couple of days a week and you get paid at the same, and you're home at your house, and you just had a baby, you spend time, and it wasn't like he wasn't respected in AEW.
Yeah.
I mean, they treated him better than what he should have been treated, in my mind. Held at a higher standard than what he earned.
Yeah.
Now you're going to go to WWE, and we'll see. I doubt they're going to have him on a. He'll be doing house shows, this and that. I would guess.
Mhm.
I don't think they see him. They'll probably blow smoke up his butt and
Yeah.
build him up, build that ego up. I don't see him using them.
No.
They're going to use him like a regular person, is what I would think. So he's
Yeah.
going to be gone more on the road. But anyways, that's our thoughts about the Cody Rhodes situation and wrestling in general nowadays.
Yeah.
We hope you like it, and listen to us again.
Bye bye.